Okay, are we live? I think we are. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Live with GCCA Fiber Blend and Spin. My name is Dia Robinson, and I am the owner of Twisted Urban Fiber Arts, and we are a product, a service, and textile-based company whose sole purpose is to put a new twist on an old concept. So I'm excited for you joining in today. So what we're going to do is I am going to show you how to blend fiber on a blending board, and through that we'll be able to make our own unique type yarn, and then I'll show you how to spin it up using my electric spinning wheel. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So bear with me as I shift the camera over so you can see my blending board. So let's do this. And where can you see it? Zoom it in right for you and pull back some. All right, is that working for everybody? Okay, so I think that's going to work. So we are, there we go. We are good. Yes. All right, so I actually have my Facebook pulled up on my iPad. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them, and I will try to hit them up. If I'm unable to get to your question, just bear with me. I will go back through it and make sure I send you the message to get to your questions. But all right, so what you see before you is a blending board. Now, in this blending board, our purpose for it is to take fiber, this is fiber right here. This is actually considered a roving. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this roving and we're going to open it up. So when we open it up and put it on the blending board, this allows us to do a woolen prep. And when we do the woolen prep, what happens is that air goes into the wool. So that's when you have like those like garments that are very soft and very lofty, like sweaters. That what that means is that air has been put into the wool, and that's what gives it that very lofty feel. Now, before we get started doing this, I also want to say that I will be teaching a fiber blend and spinning class this summer at GCCA. And this summer, what we're going to do is I am going to teach you how to blend your fibers, and you'll be spinning your fibers on a drop spindle. Now, this is a drop spindle, and it is considered a top whirl drop spindle. And you'll be doing that, and you'll be blending your fibers using a blending brush. So if you're interested in taking my class this summer, you will find the link at the GCCA website. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So when I was approached about doing this, I was trying to think, what should I blend together? What is my inspiration? Because a lot of times when I start blending fibers together, I want to think, what type of yarn am I trying to make? What kind of colors do I want to use? So I started thinking, I've been on this really big purple and blue palette for a while, and I wanted to do something that represented like very mystical type of fantasy aspects. I was like, oh, let's do like a fantasy type ocean. So you can kind of see like the colors that I picked for that, and we're going to add a lot of sparkle to go in it. So let's get started. Let me show you how this is. Make sure I'm not missing any comments or questions. So how to put this on the blending board, what you're going to do is kind of push the fiber down into the tines, and then you're going to slowly drag it down. I'll make sure that everybody can kind of see that. So we're going to push the fiber, drag it down. And you see how I'm kind of opening it up, and I want to make sure I hit all areas within the tines. Now, there really isn't a right or wrong way to do this. You're just kind of doing it in such a way that you want to cover the board in the fiber, because when we pull this off, we don't want any spaces that are kind of like lagging behind or kind of weak when we spin it into yarn using the spinning wheel. All right, can everybody see that? Is that coming in clearly? Good. Okay, so once we put this on here, the next thing you want to do is you want to push it down into the blending board. what that has done, that has put space in between. That means we can put more layers of wool on top. So we'll just blend it down. Now, like I said, you can use a blending brush or AKA dog brush, or a lot of people, what happens when you get a blending board, it comes with actually a paintbrush that allows you to push the fibers in there too. Okay, so now we have that blue. Now I'm thinking, let's add some of this kind of sea green in here. So we're kind of do like little spots of it. I don't want to do too much, but just little hints in there. And the reason why I'm kind of spreading it out on the blending board, because when you roll the fiber up into what's going to be called a roll lag, you want that color to be dispersed between all the fibers, so you can get that in your yarn. So we have that. And actually on this layer, let's go ahead and add some sparkles to it. So yes, now isn't that gorgeous? There's something about it when you start putting the sparkle on it that just makes it just so, to me, just luscious. There you go. With that, and then what I want to do, I'll show you what I use the brush, and you just kind of brush it down in there. There we go. All right. So we have that. So the next color kind of want to do is let's add some kind of maybe fuchsia here. Add some fuchsia. We're just gonna do like lines of it again. And the reason why I'm just putting it in different spaces, because I want it to actually go throughout my fiber. And we'll do that. And then on top of the fuchsia, I actually have some we're gonna add some silk in it too. White piece of silk, just to give it a little pop. So just a little pop here and there. Can only all see that? Yes, good, great. Any questions so far? The cool thing about fiber arts is that fiber arts is so easy to get into. It's not it can become an expensive hobby, but to start is not expensive at all. We do have a local yarn shop here in Greenville that actually sells fiber. So it's called Yarn & Y'all. So if you're interested in getting a drop spindle, or if you're interested in just getting some roving to actually start learning and play with, you can actually do that too. And again, I will be teaching the class this summer at GCCA. So again, if you're interested in taking my class and learning how to blend fiber using the brush and using the drop spindle, I'll be teaching that. Okay, so look at that. That is gorgeous, right? So what else do we want to do? Let's add some, let's see, we're going to add some more blue to this. So again, like I said, I kind of wanted this fantasy type mystical color look going on with it. So we're going to do that. I'll put some in the middle. There we go. That. And that. All right. And then, you know what? Let's put some teal in here too. I know all you're all looking like, how in the world is she gonna make yarn out of that? Don't worry, I will definitely show you. And I want to add some more sparkle. Now, the sparkle is called Angelina, and it's type of very, 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 very thin. It's not plastic. I can't remember what type of fiber it is, but it gives your yarn just that pop that it kind of needs in there. So there. All right, and then we're gonna pack that down. Again, like I said, what we're doing is that we are making layers into this. All right, and that's, I'm gonna make sure I get. So as you kind of see, it kind of pops in the side. So if you look right here at the top, I kind of missed that area, so I need to kind of make sure I get that filled in. Okay, now let's see. I have some purple that I kind of, now reason why I'm spreading this out, because I think I want to thin layer this to kind of go across the top. And we're going to do that. So, now, just kind of need to hit that spot in that middle. And then layer it. Okay, I think that looks good. And what else we're going to do is we're just going to add some darker purple here too, just to give it a little bit of contrast in this. Okay. All right. Now, I have experimented with this blending board. Now, this blending board can hold up to about 2 ounces of wool, which is actually a lot of wool when you're trying to spin it. But I'm not going to try to overpack this. So, I know it looks a little muddied right now. So, what we're going to do is I am actually going to, we're going to add some of the darker blue that we have at the bottom. We're going to do it again, put it at the top, like so. And now what I want to do with that is we're just going to do it across the top. Like that, that. And then we're actually going to take that sea green towards the bottom. Like that. And actually, we haven't really played with this color. So what I want to do is kind of add that in there. Yes, so we're going to do this and put it in spots. Their goodness. And to finish it off, we will add some of the white again. And like I said, I know it looks kind of crazy right now, but you will see exactly what I'm doing once we start spinning it into yarn. So, any questions so far? All right. And what else? So I have some gold, and you know, gold just makes it, they just make it pop. Some gold Angelina. It's just something about the bling. It just catches your eye. Okay. And I'll add a little bit more, a little bit more, a bit more. And I kind of feel like I want to put a little bit more silver mixed in with that too. Okay. Then we have all that, and let's just bring that down this way. Alright, so here's my representation of kind of like a fantasy type water, what it would kind of look like in a painting. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this off the blending board. Now how you do that is you're going to use two dowels. The size of your dowels actually matter because when we roll this up, it will reflect on what your rollags are going to look like. So I try to use a very kind of thin one, and then you're going to have like a medium-sized one. So if I can kind of push this back here so you can kind of see what I'm going to do. We're going to take the end. So at the end of this, you'll see where the fiber is at the end of the board. We're going to kind of push it up, right? So you're going to push it up. Get this back centered. There we go. And I always put the bigger one at the top and the smaller one under it. We're going to do it like so. Now, there is no rhyme or reason to how I roll this up, roll it under or over. I just have a tendency to roll this under. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're just kind of just roll. Now, as we're rolling, you're going to see that I'm going to draft it. And what drafting does is kind of stretches and it pulls the fiber, and again, it blends it in. So we're going to draft. And we're going to and draft again. And then another technique that I do is that I kind of just do a little bit roll down here of the tines to kind of make it organized. And here you go. So this is what's called a rolag. And what a rolag does with a spinner is that you can pull it from the tip. And so when you pull the fiber from the tip, you're going to get all these various colors and materials into the yarn as you spin it, and this comes out gorgeous. So to take it off the dowels, you're just going to pull one out, and then you'll pull the other one out. And then a lot of people, what they do is they roll them up into little rolls. It's the name Rollags. And you get this gorgeous, gorgeous mixture of fibers and Angelina to spin into wool. So we're going to do that for the other ones too. So let me put this to the side. All right. Okay. Remember, I have the bigger one at the top. I have the smaller dowel at the bottom of it. We're going to kind of line it together. You're going to try to capture the wool. Pull it tight, and then I start rolling it. And I roll it together. And as I roll, I'm going to draft. Meaning we're going to stretch the fiber. Draft it together. And again, this is just something I do to make it a little bit more uniform. I kind of rub it against the blending board to kind of pull it all together. Again, look at that. That is just beautiful. Okay. Pull it off. And you're going to roll it into your little roll. And the cool thing about putting it into the little roll is that you can, if you didn't have time to spin at that moment, you can easily pack this in a bag, and it would be fine. So put that to the side. And any questions so far? Over here. Okay, I'm not missing anything. Okay. And sometimes it happens if you notice that the fiber is getting caught at the end. That is all right. You can just take a brush and kind of brush that up a little bit. So then we're going to draft. We're going to pull. Draft it again. Pull. Draft. Just kind of, like I said, I do this to make this a little uniformed. We're going to pull that out again. And then we'll just roll it up. So like I said, it's a relatively easy craft. And it's easy to get into. Okay. So let's get that last little bit up here. And then we'll move this out the way, and I will show you how I use it on my electric spinning wheel. We're going to draft. Pull. And the end sometimes doesn't look as put together because it's right there at the end. It was kind of sticking through, but that's fine. It's yarn. So it'll be fine when it's spun into the yarn. So yeah. So that's our last one. So we were able to get 4 of them through the blending board. And on average, I can get between 4 or 6 depending how I draft it and make it into Rollags. So what we're going to do, let's move this out the way. And I am actually going to introduce to you my electric spinning wheel. This is the Electric Eel Wheel Nano. And the reason I'm showing you the electric wheel is because it's just easier for the camera to see it. But I do have 2 traditional wheels. And so again, if you take the class this summer with me at GCCA, you'll be able to see the traditional Ashford spinning wheel and the Ashford joist spinning wheel. So the cool thing about this though is that it's small, it's compact, I can stick it in the bag, and I can spin anywhere with it. So to spin your fibers, what you're going to do is unravel your Rolag. And a lot of times what a lot of fiber artists like to do, we like to do a thing called pre-drafting. So pre-drafting is that you're just going to slightly elongate your Rolag. You're not going to pull it apart, but you're just going to elongate it. So let me see if I can get closer. Now, as you see when I elongate it, how the colors just kind of blend into each other. So this is what happens when we put it on the blending board. And you can see like it's lofty. All the fibers are usually are mixed together. So that's why I said this is a woolen prep for spinning. So I kind of like to pre-draft my fibers. And then once I pre-draft it, I already have this hooked up into the wheel for us. And we can go ahead and let's turn this on. Okay, so you can see. So then I'll take this in, and what you'll do is that you will kind of overlap the pre-draft with the fiber that you already have on the wheel, or you'll have a leader yarn. And when you do that, you're going to turn it on again and kind of let it catch up in there. And then you spin. So the mechanics of spinning. As you see my hand, what happens that with my fingers right here, what's doing is holding the twist. So when I slightly let go of the twist goes all the way up into the wool, which actually makes it into the yarn. So what we're going to do is actually kind of speed that up a bit and get that in there. Now, what happens sometimes is your uptake, and there it is. So we need to kind of get that in there. And this is like a common thing that kind of happens. You want your uptake to go through. Then I'm just going to put more of that in there. And there we go. And we just spin. And again, when you're on a regular spinning wheel, you won't go this fast. And it does look like it's easy, but believe me, it took a lot of practice for me to get used to using a spinning wheel. So that's why for the class that I'll be teaching this summer, we will be using a drop spindle. That does take some practice with it, but just not as much as it would be with a spinning wheel. So any questions? Any comments? I think we're doing good on time. And I kind of want to show you while we're at this is that, so let me kind of zoom in if you can see it. Now this is the yarn, and the yarn is on the bottom, and it's beautiful. So to get an example of kind of what it looks like if it was to be, because usually when you spin yarn, you two-ply it, right? So you ply it on itself. So you ply it on yourself. If I was to ply the yarn, this is what it would look like. Let's see if we can get a closer look of it. So yeah, that is gorgeous. And you see the mixtures of color. You see the pop of the Angelina. And what you could do is you would take this yarn and you could knit it, you could crochet it, you could weave it, you could needle felt it. You can do anything with it. So, I mean, the sky is the limit, right, when it comes to using fiber arts. That's the beauty of it, is that there's really no rules. Like, there's techniques, but how you can create whatever you want to with it. For example, I want to show you, actually, this is a fiber that I actually spun up on my traditional wool, but the beauty of it is that I was able to include, you see bits and pieces of ribbon that I put in here. There's areas where I put a lot of beads in it. So what I plan on doing with this is just knitting it into a garment later on. I just need to make some more because this is only 500 yards.